Hi, it's Facebook Friday and Happy New Year. I am coming to you from my dining room and I think it's a little echoey in here, but we'll get by. So today I want to talk about why you need to go after your goals in 2019, why it's so important to just go for it. So there's an old Chinese proverb I want to start with, and the Chinese proverb says, to forget one's ancestors is to be a book without a source, a tree without a root. And that is the basis of why you have to go for your goals. And I lost my light. What is going on? That's all right, we'll just continue. Anyway, I want to talk about this because over Christmas Eve, we went to a church in Glandorf, Germany. And this church is, Glandorf, Germany is a town that was settled by German settlers from the city of Glandorf in Germany. And they came over on a boat and they settled this town. Well, that's where my grandfather is from. My mom's dad is from Glandorf, Germany. And he came over on a boat as a baby. So can you imagine what it was like? What it was like to come across the ocean on a boat with baby and little kids. I mean, I can't imagine the fear that had to have been for my grandmother and the family. So I'm sitting in this church on New Year's Eve. My mom wanted to go to her childhood church. And it's a church that was built in 1834 in Glandorf, Germany. And at the time, it was the largest church in the state of Ohio. And it's just breathtakingly beautiful. It's just a cathedral and it's amazing. So we're sitting in this church and I realized that the last time I was at this church was when my mom was burying her mom. It was my grandmother's funeral and I was a teenager and I had this vision of my dad putting his hand on the small of my mom's back as they were going up the stairs, and I thought, wow, I mean, the history in this church. Then I realized it's the church that my grandfather was married in, that all of their children were baptized in. My mom had all the Catholic things done in this church, the baptism and the sacraments, and she was married in that church, and just the history. So sitting there, and I'm starting to think about all the history in this church. They have this beautiful choir with horns and music. It was beautiful, but the choir starts to sing Silent Night. Now, Silent Night was originally composed in Austria, and it was first composed in German. So the choir of this church, they sang the first verse in German. Well, I can tell you that the dry eye situation didn't last because it was so beautiful and so powerful. And at the time, I could feel my ancestors. And that's why we're having this live broadcast, even though we're having technical problems. We're having this broadcast in my dining room because the wall behind me is all of the people, my parents, my grandparents, my great-grandparents, going all the way back. I have this wall of these feelings. And so that's why you must go after your goals. Think about the sacrifices that they made for a better life for their children, a better life for their grandchildren, a better life for me. Your history, your people, they did the same thing for you. And you have to keep that in mind when you're going after your goals. You owe it to them. We have opportunities. I have opportunities that my grandmother couldn't even dream of, that opportunities that they couldn't even imagine. I mean, we are our ancestors' wildest dreams, and we owe it to them to give it our best shot and to just go for it and just let it loose and not hold ourselves back. That's what we need to do. So as I'm sitting in church and over Christmas, I was starting to feel like self-doubt, like, where am I going next? What am I doing? What am I supposed to be doing? I don't know. That's what I kept thinking. And all of a sudden, I heard this voice sitting in there as I'm listening to Silent Night being sung in German. I hear this voice that says, start knowing. And that's all it said. And I realized, you know what? I know what I need to do. It's that voice inside that we hear. Is it God? Is it our angels? Is it a guardian angel? Is it our ancestors? I don't know. I think that night in church, I think it was my grandmother, to be honest. But start knowing. Because sometimes that voice we hear, and when we don't think we know what to do, that voice is telling us, to do that thing that we're scared to do that thing that makes us uncomfortable, to do that thing that's hard, to do that Facebook Live that makes you nervous and you get all, don't know what you're doing, just to do it. Start knowing that you already know. Start knowing that you have the strength of God, the strength of the Holy Spirit, the strength of the wall of courageous fighters that you share DNA with, all on your side. Just start knowing. Start knowing you're not a victim. Start knowing that you already have what it takes. So, as you are making your goals for 2019, I ask you to be brave. I ask you to do this exercise. Say out loud, start knowing. Close your eyes, take a deep breath, and then what comes next is going to be the truth. What comes next is going to be from God. What comes next might not make you feel comfortable and might not make you feel safe and secure, but have faith, because if God tells you to go ahead and do something and you say yes, He's going to provide a way to make it happen. I mean, that's just how it works. So at the start of this new year, I say Happy New Year, and I say let's go for it. Let's go for our goals. Let's do it for ourselves, and let's do it for them. They are watching over us, and we can make it happen. So Happy New Year, and sorry about the technical difficulties, but thank you for watching.